What's up, YouTube? I'm back again. And today, I'm about to talk about a very sore situation that tends to go on in many communities, but specifically with the Black community, because that's the community I'm primarily part of. So it's easier for me to discuss about the uniqueness and details about the women and men within my community compared to talking about the white community or Asian community. Granted, what I'm about to talk about, this is going on in almost all communities, but I've seen this a lot in the women in my community. So the issue is similar to the title that you see right here in this video that KevinSamuels had for his video, which is about Christian feminist women. So here's my take on this. And then I'm going to talk about, also, before I even play this video, I'm going to add about deconstructing language. I'm going to give you an idea of what that is. And I'm also going to explain to you how difficult information like this is hard to find today. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, I'm going to tell you my observation as to why. Christian feminist women, from my observation, in the past 4 years, I would say that there was a growing trend, especially around 2022, 2023, where I saw an influx of women running to churches, especially Black women, who any man with two eyes and ears can see these were not just regular Christian women already. These were women who was playing in the streets primarily, chasing after that archetype I told you, Chaz and Tyrone's. And then instead of doing the honest work on themselves to find a decent man and just having better self-control, impulse control, and all this other jazz, they rather try to find men who will be naive to the types of things that they've been doing in the streets. And that's usually, and in their mind, that would be Christian men. Very sneaky and parasitic, if you ask me. Very sneaky and parasitic. Those men who are still in church, who are single, who have been dedicating their life to church and God, and who barely strayed away from that, do not deserve to be entrapped with a woman who has been playing game all day, every day out in the street since she was probably not even 18, having kids left and right with Chaz and Tyrone's, and think she gonna run her narrow behind back in the church and chase after a man who deserve a way better woman who sacrificed the same amount of time and energy into church and God. That's not what he deserves. And it's so disgusting to me. It's very disgusting. Dude, now let me clarify something. Do I think men or women can be born again Christians? Absolutely. But here's the thing that these women were doing, and still are, some of them are doing today. They're trying to use it as segue to access to those men. So they're not, because of what they used to do in the street, that they feel like too many men in their vicinity know about. So that's not someone who's truly trying to establish a relationship to God and follow in the footsteps of what they should be really doing based on the Bible's context. Where this is where the Christian feminist aspect comes into it, because these women are coming into these churches with a feminist mindset that they still don't want to get rid of, and they want to apply that to the Bible and the Word of God. So anytime the Bible even remotely says something that benefits women, oh, they'll tout that all day. They probably even will nitpick certain pieces of the Bible in service of their benefit. But then when it talks about how the man is the head of the household, you would barely hear these types of women say that. And that goes into deconstructing the language that I want to talk about, is how these Christian feminist women, and this is what this woman's going to do in this video that KevinSamuels called out. And he pointed out how one woman here, but there's many women who do this, Christian feminist women, where when they talk about the Bible, when they talk about the relationships and behavior of a man and woman between each other, they're going to speak about it in a way that serves a feminist motive while also still trying to be about God. And it's very subtle. Like I said, just like in the snake in the Garden of Eden, surely God said that you couldn't X, Y, and Z, A, B, C. You see what I mean? It's the language is, the change in the language was subtle enough that it doesn't raise any alarms when you hear it, but it's still subtle enough that the person gets away under the radar when they speak to you about whatever topic that you're talking about, where they can still serve their purpose while also making it seem like to you that they're serving the message that you believe that they're claiming that they serve. It's very snake-like. It's very snake-like. One other thing I want to add is that it was difficult to even find issues regarding this when I know, and I know other men know, that this is a trending problem. And it was a huge trend at one point not that long ago, a year or two ago. Want to know why? Because Google, YouTube makes valiant efforts to try to suppress this type of information as it hurts the image of women and or black women. And here's what I've come to believe over my life in America and just in the world. When information is being suppressed about a group or a group of things or people, there's an agenda. Evil operates under confusion. Good operates in clarity and truth. If there was no problem to people knowing and finding out that there are women that do this, then it should be easy to find the information, just as easy as it is to find information about men doing fucked up shit. So what does that tell me? That tells me there's an agenda to protect, and this may be one of the reasons, to protect the images of black women and women alike, but they're also open to destroying the images of men and black men by leaving that information wide open for anybody to be available to get. But the moment that I want to find out information about women doing this, whether it's articles, whether it's research paperwork about it, I gotta go 20 pages into Google search results to even find maybe something that is talking about it to some degree. So there's an attempt to suppress it. They're not slick. And this goes on for any topic that you guys know is controversial enough, or that you feel like if this was to be widespread common knowledge, it would be in disadvantage to somebody who probably don't want people to know. It might get suppressed then. It might get suppressed. There's a chance it might be or will be or is getting suppressed. So let's go ahead and pay attention to see how this woman is deconstructing language.
As promised, I want to come before you guys to follow up on Fantage's and her husband's video saying that women should submit to men. Now, of course, I disagree 100%. I believe that no man.
Now, her video was talking about how she was responding to Fantage's video. Remember, Fantasia made that all the stir with the submission video? And the woman that I had on my show last night, who was talking about opening the floodgates, openly said that she thinks Fantasia was wrong about women submitting to men in marriage 100%. Cool. I want you guys to hear what she says, because I don't want to misrepresent it. So I need to play this in its entirety, and it's about 6 minutes long, so just listen.
Should rule over another man. Now, given we are born and raised and indoctrinated and institutionalized into this patriarchal society.
Don't put her name in the chat room.
We live in a society in which men rule everything. Men,
take her name out of the chat room.
And in this society,
I wanted to know how to put it in there.
Social order, men also rule women. And I say indoctrinated because the majority of us are Christians or religious people. And in so many religious texts, it says, women are beneath the men, and or a man is the head, and all this craziness. So, basically.
Now remember, all this craziness. Women are beneath the head, all this craziness. No. You're not a YouTuber. I have 2 videos posted on YouTube. That's the YouTuber. That's what it is.
I disagree because I think.
But you're more. Hold on. But you're more than welcome to when I have the call-in portion. You're more than welcome because I want your words because you put it out there. It's public video, but I'm not playing the video. I'm just playing the words because I don't want it to be misinterpreted. But I think it's a good bookend for the conversation that we had yesterday. Y'all should go watch that.
Women and men together equals balance. I don't believe that a woman is equal to a man, and I don't believe that a man is equal to a woman. I believe that they both have their place in each other's lives. I believe that the woman is like myself. I'm a woman. I am the manifestation in the flesh of the divine feminine aspect of God, and he, my man, or the man, is the manifestation in the flesh of the divine masculine part of God, right? So there's a balance there. You can't have one without the other, and they both balance each other out.
Wrong, ma'am. You can't have one without the other. When Adam was created, he was created with woman and man together. See what a lot of these new wave Christian feminists, they're convenient Christians. What you're going to notice is a lot of them will talk about God, Christianity, quote scripture, speak in, these spiritual terms, but then turn around and lace it with feminist doctrine. We're equals, balance. And there's nothing in the Bible about equality or balance. You can't have one without the other. The Bible would disagree. Please show me where it says that what you're saying is true. But unfortunately, so many of our women in church have begun to blend Christianity with feminist doctrine to become feminist Christians.
And I feel in that video.
So he just covered exactly what I wanted to talk about today, and this is part of a larger issue, but this is exactly what I had issue with regarding these types of women. Because if you paid attention, that he called, and it was funny because when I was playing this video earlier a few days ago, I didn't catch that subtle change in the language of what she was saying that was serving this purpose of a feminist mindset. When I hear balance and stuff, I'm like, oh, that don't sound bad. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, she did say that men and women are equals, but when we come together, we bring about a balance. To some degree, I can see that argument. But what he was calling out was the fact that this takes away from the fact that the Bible does make a distinction between men being the head of the household versus women being helpmates. And he's absolutely correct. So while there may be some argument to say that, hey, men and women do bring about balance to each other, what she was trying to do was take away and say that that's the focal point, or should be the focal point, and that there's no thing, this shouldn't be anything about us thinking about women being this submission or men being the head of the household. So she doesn't want a distinction between the two. And toxic feminists like this think this way, but they still want to play the role of being a Christian. And again, wolf in sheep's clothing. Wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm not for this type of nonsense. If you can fool the ways of the flesh, meaning she could probably get women to be fooled by this statement. She can get men being simps and knuckleheads being fooled by this statement, but I can guarantee you're not fooling everybody. What she's fooling or trying to fool people on is the ways of the flesh, the mind. But the spirit won't be fooled. Where your true heart stands relative to this issue is what your outcome is going to really be. And God knows that. So all these women that want to come running to church play pretending to be these strongly devoted, God-fearing Christian women, but in reality, they haven't changed a lick about themselves. They know that they're nitpicking the Bible. They know that they don't believe in the submission of men being the head of the household and all this other jazz. God knows the way of what your heart truly means. And some of these women may be able to finesse and fool a man to being with them, but I can promise you there will be judgment for that too. You will be judged for that too. How you robbed a man of his time, energy, emotion, and life being with you when you didn't deserve it because you wanted to play pretend. It's very disgusting behavior. And then these are the same women who want to run online talking about some ain't no Christian men in church. Yeah, because Christian men who got some common sense know that y'all on bullshit. I got one more video and then let me see. Look, all this scrolling I did, that was me trying to find more information on, because when I was just doing regular Google search, I couldn't find a lick of things. Here we go. I have it right here. All right, I want to set it back a bit because I just want to call to attention some parts that she openly talked about, because she's an example who I'm discussing. Oh yeah, here we go. Yep. I'm going to set this back. I'm glad this one got some little checkpoints here.
23 years to find someone.
You've been waiting in what? For purity, you say?
Yes. I do not have sex. I do not sleep around.
Are you saying you're a virgin?
Born again, if you want to say it that way.
How long has that been?
To my personal convictions, I've only fallen to sexual sin once in 23 years.
How long ago was that?
2016.
Okay, so your personal convictions, because I was Christian since 5 years old.
Okay.
How do you plan on handling your elder years? 65 to 85.
I do.
At the point you won't have a husband, you won't have a family or children.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be too old to really work to make significant income.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
I honestly don't know. I would like to be married, but I just not yet.
When did you become a Christian?
When I was 21.
So I can tell you, man, I'm hearing things that make no sense to me. How can you want to be married and you're a Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the husband? Where's Adam, Eve?
You want to know why it doesn't make sense to him? I'm not saying you didn't pick up on it, but reason why I think he's saying that, at least from my observation of what she's saying, is that how the hell did you get to the age that you are now, and you're telling me you not a single time you found a man worth anything, worth even like just a decent man who may not be rich, but he does what he's supposed to do? You telling me you never found a man like that who'd have been willing to marry you? It's just difficult to believe, because men like Kevin Samuels and men like him, well, what we understand, and some of the men who may see this video, is that when it comes to dating, women by and large have leverage when it comes to the access to them, who gets to date them, who gets to sleep with them, just that aspect of it. Men have seen, who have paid attention throughout their life, that there is a lopsided system when it comes to how the outcomes and experiences of women versus men when it comes to dating and relationships. Women get an influx of men on a regular basis, even if she's even halfway decent looking. She ain't gotta be no conventionally attractive Calvin Klein model. if she's even just halfway decent looking, those women tend to get an influx over the course of their life of just men regularly trying to go smack at them. Good men, bad men, gray area men, just a regular. The same man who's just average, right? Just like that woman, wouldn't even get half of that. Wouldn't even get a third of of women coming for him the same way that woman in this example got of men. Why is that? Well, part of it I like to argue is just Mother Nature. Men just default to going after women. Women tend to default to wanting men to come to them. Women also socially, let me add in the social aspect, are socially afraid and lack the courage, because that's the truth, lack the courage and strength to deal with rejection. So instead of dealing with the rejection, that's not all women, by the way. I've met women who've openly admitted, yeah, I've asked the gal out and I gotten to know and she just left it as is. So there's some women who do try to take their chances, but most women just don't feel emotionally comfortable doing it because they don't like the impact of how it makes them feel if they get rejected. So they usually hope that men do play that position because, and honestly, men should see this as a compliment to some degree if you think about it. Because whether hateful women who hate men admit it or not, they're acknowledging that they value or trust in the fact that men have a little bit more strength, emotional strength or capability to tolerate rejection in that sense. So in a way, you can kind of look at it as a backwards twisted compliment if you think about it. But those types of women tend to not be comfortable doing those things. Born again virgins, Christian feminists, these types of women that he's calling out, it doesn't make sense that if you're truly a Christian woman, and as early as she got to that point of being 21 and claiming that that's when she started this journey, okay, let's give her some credit, right? Okay, you said that you only committed the sexual sin again one time out of the 20 plus years that you've been being a born again Christian feminist. Okay, fine. I'll give her some credibility on that actually, because some women, they don't even pull that off. However, it doesn't make a lick of sense based on what I talked about the lopsided experience that women experience in dating, how they constantly get an influx of men that pursue them. And it looked like when she was 20, she was just like a hella attractive. I can see it. I can see the vision there. So you telling me from 21 all the way to now, you didn't get a single man who would have been willing to lock you in? Something doesn't compute. Granted, we have to consider the variable that there is going to be that percentage of men and women who end up in the bracket of people that no matter how much effort they put in, they just so happen to just not look out. Those are those people, right? She could be in that percentage where she is doing the right thing. She is trying to pursue what she think is the right type of man, and maybe even try to find them in the right type of spaces, but maybe she's just not looking out. That can happen. That absolutely can happen. So I don't want to take that away from her or anybody in that position. However, that does not negate the argument that Kevin Samuels is trying to make and I'm trying to make, where many of these women are not really playing the role that they claim that they are in. And their life and outcome typically are going to be a reflection of the very thing that they are trying to do but are not getting. You cannot tell me that all this time you didn't get a single dude who would have tried to lock you in. I believe, because I don't know her life, but usually most girls get at least one dude. They usually get one bone. Most women who's decently attractive tend to get one bone. So that means what I'm saying is that they tend to get at least one guy who would have locked them in and been down for them. But here's the problem. That guy, she probably just did not like that. Okay, fine. You just didn't like him like that. He didn't tickle your fancy. That's fine. But here's the problem though. You just blocked your blessings. You just blocked your blessings. The guy that she probably wants is probably still a Chad or a Tyrone, but he's just has a strong relationship to God and he's a God-fearing man. I'm not saying you can't get a dude like that, but what I'm saying, the percent of men who are like, who have Chad Tyrone mindset, behavior, demeanor, and also are God-fearing men, those two things tend to not go together. Usually when I see men like that switch over to being God-fearing men, they give away, they stop doing that aspect of them. They're not carrying a lot of those behaviors that they had when they were being these Chads and Tyrones. So because both things can go together. There's a different type of mindset that comes with being a God-fearing man, a true God-fearing man, and there's a different types of mindset that comes with being what people would call a red pill alpha man or whatever. They tend to carry a lot of their mindsets tend to be conflicting. So when an alpha male man or a man that they like, these Chads and Tyrones, those archetypes I talked about, when they want to shift their lives to being focusing on God, they have to do away with a lot of their mindset because it doesn't work in tandem with the Bible or what God says. They don't go hand in hand. So when I see women like this, I think that you may be trying to make a valiant effort in changing over, but the catch is that you probably still want to desire, you still have a strong desire for those archetypes of men, Chads and Tyrones, but you want them to be like you in terms of the mindset of being born again Christian and God-fearing, but those two things don't go together. And a true God-fearing woman, or a woman who wanted to transition as well from playing around in the streets to being actually God-fearing women, they also will have to play that, go through that same transition. They can't keep a street mindset and try to also play the role of being God-fearing women. They don't go together. Based on the rules and the expectations and movements that the Bible expect people to live by, though these street mindsets can't be kept when you want to be God-fearing people. They don't go together. They conflict. The ideologies conflict. Prime example, Chads and Tyrones tend to operate in a realm of confusion too a little bit. You want to know why? Some men who tend to teach red pill will tell you, oh, you need to be aloof with women. Don't let them know your every move. This, that, and the third. Those are ways to play in a realm of mystery and confusion. Evil operates in confusion. Good operates in truth and clarity. Those are conflicting ideologies. You cannot be with a woman and operate and try to make her operate in a realm of confusion with you, being aloof and whatever, and then also claim you're a God-fearing man. Those ideologies don't go together. And this goes for men and women. Those ideologies don't go together. So for her, she may be still carrying some ideology that has affected her ability to completely maximize her outcome or chances into actually being married with children at this point. And I am speculating it has something to do specifically with the type of man that she typically likes, that she still just can't do away from. It's hard. It's hard when you not, and this is where I'm gonna give her some credibility here. It's a little difficult. I ain't gonna say a little. For some people, it can be very difficult to try to push away the desire you want of a specific type of man or woman and try to find appreciation in men or women who you usually didn't want. You usually didn't because the types of men and women that you typically liked didn't fall in that category. She wouldn't have looked when she was 21 or before when she was 20 or whatever. If she was in college or whatever, she wouldn't have looked in Neil deGrasse Tyson's way when he was in college, if they went to the same college. While he was going to see his PhD advisor and sitting in these classrooms after hours and whatever, she was standing in the football field waiting for a Chad or Tyrone to talk to her. She was popping up in the hallways with football players and soccer players and all the likes was walking around that typically. She wanted to, in high school, she would sit at the table with the dudes who play the sports, not the dudes who's playing the trombone in the band, not the dude who's getting straight A's and going home to his mom. There's a difference between and what people need to understand, men and women, is that those types of women, she was probably chasing that archetype. That's an archetype. The mindset and behavior of the men who play football, who do all this stuff, who act aloof and all this other nonsense. Those men do not behave the same as men who do as I described, who are like the Neil deGrasse Tysons of the world, the nerds, for lack of better speak. Those are two different types of people. They are two different archetypes. And women, and I've had this happen to me. I've said this in previous videos of how a woman told me I wasn't her type in high school. But then over the time in Instagram, when there was this little bit of a trend, I don't know if it was just within my old classmates or other people was doing it, where they would post a picture of the people that they know or talk to or they friends with, and they would say good morning in the morning to them, and they'll post it on Instagram. So they'll post a picture, like if you was friends with somebody, if you was friends with me, I will post a picture of you that I have, and I'll just put in the captions, good morning, fam, or something like that. That's what they was doing. I don't know if everybody did that, but I remember that same girl I used to like, the same one who told me I wasn't her type, over time, I would watch the types of men that she would post on Instagram and say good morning to, and they look nothing like me. They act look nothing like me. There was nothing like me. There was nothing that I saw in myself in them. They were still black, but these are the type of guys where you see they always keep their locks in front of their eyes. They sag their pants, always wearing a white tank top, and you could tell these types of dudes smoke weed even before it was legalized, and drinking before they was of age. That was the types of men that she was posting and saying good morning to. I never saw a man that I saw my likeness in who carried some level of what I do in terms of being a little bit more preppy, a little bit more nerdy in the band or whatever. She didn't post those types of dudes unless she was just genuinely friends with them and she knew them, but it was rare. So what did that tell me? When I finally had enough data, one day I was sitting down in my chair and I said, you're right. I said to myself, I was like, she was right. I'm not her type, because look at the type of man she be posting. I was 17 when I came to this conclusion. I was 17. And so this is for some men who came to this conclusion, they either found out early or later, but there's a pattern of behavior where you have women and men who tend to chase out this certain archetype, but that archetype is not conducive to a successful relationship. So when women like her want to be these born again Christians, I'm going to tell you right now, if you truly want to get a man like that, who actually is about that marriage life, is about raising children, is about loving his woman, you have to actually be the role that he looks for based on the Bible too. You can't just say you can't just nitpick the parts that talks about the benefits that women get out of the man, but not pay attention to parts that says how the man is the head of the household. That the woman is a what's the word that they typically use? I was about to say playmate. She's a helper. She's supposed to assist. She's the assist to the man. You can't not play that role and think that by and large, most of y'all gonna get these types of men. Because real Christian, God-fearing men are gonna see right through that facade. So that's all I had to talk about today. I just want to call that out because this is something I remember seeing a lot of, especially early on with this trend, like I said, of women doing this. And it's kind of died down. I haven't seen it as much. Maybe my algorithm just simply have changed. But men and women, if you decide to switch over and claim to pledge your life to God, but you're really not, I'm gonna tell you right now, the only thing you fooling is the flesh. The spirit is not food. The spirit is not food. God, Jesus, they all operate in the spirit realm. They're not fooled by what you're really doing. So you can still be judged for that. You will be. So I would suggest that you act accordingly to who you truly are and what you want to be. If you still want to play these streets and you still have strong desires for Chad and Tyrone, I get it. Logistically speaking, you're like, man, preferences. I'm like going on 30, and I need to find a man. You know, I still want to say, okay, that's fine. I get it. Logistically, you're looking at it from a practical standpoint, but your actions is just not truly a reflection of that. Maybe just be who you really are being until you truly are ready and able to commit fully, not at least 90% of you to 99% of you into that lifestyle. Because if you just can't do that, and you still got part of your foot or heel of your foot out in the other side of the world, in the streets, whether it's based on your mindset, you may not actively be doing nothing, but if your mindset is still back there, then you're not fully committed yet. So you're just wasting your time. She would have been better. That woman would have been better off still playing the streets. Maybe she could have lucked out with a dude who wanted to still lock her in, but y'all would have just had street mindset relationship. Been drama and chaos with it, but at least you got a man to marry you. So she would have been better off with that instead of doing this and then not being with no man, not sleeping with no man, and then now you just single and by yourself. So there's that conflict of interest. You can't, women, y'all gotta understand there's some things in this world you just can't operate in the gray area. You could try to operate in the gray area when it comes to dating men and see how long you can get away with not giving him no cheeks when it comes to dating them and them spending money on you. But at some point, the gray area ain't gonna work. Everything can't be operated in gray areas. Some things require black or white. It's either this or that. It's all or nothing. This is not something you can operate out of the gray area with. It's just not, because you're going to end up hurting yourself more. So I'm calling y'all out because I care. I'm calling y'all out because I don't want to see y'all taking these types of L's. Don't operate in the gray area when it comes to you relationships with God, because it can actually do more harm than good. I'm telling you, I seen it happen. So that's all I had to talk about. See you.